Curves, chalk and chucks.
Welcome back, fellas. We're here with episode 7 of Curve, Chalk, and Chucks. My name is Charlie Butler. I'm here, of course, with Charlie Mathis, my co-host. Very excited to break it down as a Cardinal fan. Mathis, why don't you take it away?
Yeah. First off, just hey, everybody. Great to be here. No better way than to just jump right in. The biggest move, clearly, of this week is Brendan Donovan, all-star second baseman for the Cardinals, is traded to the Mariners. There were kind of rumblings a few weeks ago that this might happen, but then it went kind of cold. But yeah, Brendan Donovan headed to the Mariners in a 3-team deal. The big piece is I'm gonna try and make sure I don't mess up this pronunciation. Jurrangelo Sinja. I had to look that one up. Jurrangelo Sinja, the switch pitcher in the Mariners farm system, a first-round draft pick last year. They also get Ty Pete, Colton Ledbetter, and a Comp B draft pick. I'll go into what that is in a bit because I had to look it up. But the Mariners obviously get Brendan Donovan. This is a 3-team deal. The Rays get Ben Williamson, who I believe was a rookie last year and had a bit of promise. So some big names moved there. What do you got for this, Chuck?
I mean, Brendan Donovan, of course. Like, as Cardinal fans, we kind of understand, like, what he means. But I wonder if other people in the MLB, like, really know, like, who this guy is and like what he's about, because like I feel like he's underrated still. Like nobody talks about him as one of the top second basemen in the game. I feel like obviously he got some buzz last year when he was named the All-Star team, but last year he was great. Gap to gap power. He puts up a ton of doubles. He had a 2.7 WAR. He had a 119 OPS plus. He's doing all this while playing good premium defense. So it's a steal by the Mariners. I mean, you're giving up Jurrangelo Sinja, but I think all in all, it's a good trade. Of course, Sinja, switch pitcher. That is something that doesn't come by a lot. But I heard reports recently that he was going to switch to just throwing right this season, which, I mean, good for him. Let him focus on something like master one than rather be average at both. But I mean, the dude's just got the aura to be great in the MLB. I'm excited as a Cardinal fan to have this guy in our system. He's a top 100 prospect. I don't know any Jurrangelo Sinjas working at Walmart. That is a baseball name. That dude has the most, like, this guy can throw 100 miles an hour with his right and left hand ever name. So I'm really excited about that. I'm, of course, sad to see Donovan go, but all in all, I'm really excited to have him. The other guys I need to look into more. I'm excited to get prospects, of course. That's what I love to see, but I'd love to get some more info on them.
Yeah, I'll go more into Sincha in a bit, but just since I've got him pulled up, Ty Pete, one of the outfielders included in the trade, who also came from the Mariners. MLB.com has his scouting grades at a 45 hit tool, a 55 power tool, a 60 run tool, a 55 fielding tool, and a 60 arm tool. So he's a toolsy, I'd say he's a toolsy role player. He's pretty Brendan Donovan-y to me. I mean, Brendan Donovan obviously more of a contact hitter, but this guy can play in the middle of the infield and he can play in the outfield, which I really like. I don't know. I think you just can't really go wrong betting on defense. And I think it's kind of what the Cardinals are looking for, truth be told. I also want to talk a bit about, Brendan Donovan. Let's see, his last year he put up 2.7 WAR. He's been consistently basically a 2 WAR or above player. He was a Gold Glover his rookie year at the utility position. This is like Brendan Donovan is a baseball guy. I feel like kind of like Cincha, like he's just a baseball guy, man. Look at his hair. I mean, I pride myself on being a bit more of a statistician than that, but look at his hair. I feel like that's all you need to see out of this guy. I like him. He's fast. He gets on base. He's a good base runner. He doesn't really steal bags, but he's got a good eye. His on base percentage for his whole career is 0.6, and his 360, and his batting average is 280. I mean, I like that. I think he's just an all around good player, a 411 slug. Like I just like this guy. He's just like, I feel like you can't go wrong with Brendan Donovan. He's got so many skills. If you've got a guy like, I don't know, like Jack Caglione or something, it's like, if that guy's not hitting home runs, he's not doing anything else. I mean, that is his one sole purpose. Brendan Donovan, like, he's a multi-tool player. Never gonna be an MVP. I mean, maybe, like, he could ascend, but probably never gonna be an MVP. He's just a good, solid player. Like he can hit in the one spot for you, and you're happy with that.
Yeah, I think for the Cardinals, most of all, I think that they won this trade, obviously giving up Donovan. But when you're looking at the ages of these guys that they get out of this, I mean, Ty Pete, he's 20 going into this next season. Colton Ledbetter, he's 24. Sinja, he's 23. So you're getting some relatively young guys, especially Pete. I'm really excited to see what he has because he still has a lot of time to develop. But you're getting these young guys, and this is exactly what I wanted from the Cardinals going into this offseason, was going out and getting those prospects that are gonna develop with you and are gonna make a name for them make a name for themselves. So no, I think this is a great trade for the Cardinals, great trade for the Mariners. Um, as for the Rays, I feel like the Rays are kind of just like odd team out. Ben
Mhm.
Williamson, I don't mean to discredit anything that he stands for. He is 25 this next season. Definitely a defensive guy from what I've seen. He put up a 1.1 D WAR and his career WAR is 1.3. So I think that he will be great defensively, but offensively, I don't really know what he's going to add. He's a third baseman, so good defensive third baseman. You really can't hate on that. Rays historically, Evan Longoria, I think seeing another good defensive third baseman there is going to be pretty exciting. So good for him. Hopefully, with a little smaller market team, I don't know, maybe he'll make a name for himself. Help the Rays get back to their 2020 glory.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely agree. I feel like the Rays are kind of like almost they're not necessary in this deal. I mean, like Cynthia and Donovan are the two big names, and it's like Ben Williamson, like that's no one to scoff at necessarily, but it's like I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean, as a Cardinals fan, I'm happy because it's like you get Colton Ledbetter, who's a pretty decent prospect. The last part of that deal is the comp B draft pick. I didn't
yeah.
quite know what that was. I think it's fairly
Mhm.
new, but it's like basically smaller market slash lower spending teams basically get those picks. The comp B is in between, I think, the second and third round. So I don't know, like Cincha is a first rounder. Ty Pete was a first rounder, I think the year before Cincha. Maybe he was a second rounder. Ledbetter, an 11th rounder, I believe, but he was really good. Or no, sorry, Ledbetter is the second rounder. And then a Compy draft pick, which is basically like a second, third round. Like, I don't know. I really like the return.
Yeah.
And I like that Chaim Bloom is saying, like, he's not saying out to sell, we're going to do whatever it takes to move, like, this is a great package to get. I also want to say, like, if you're rebuilding, the most sure way to really ensure success is like do a full rebuild. We've seen like as a Cardinal fan, you've seen the past like 3, 4 years have been kind of this like, oh, we're retooling. It's like, shut up,
Yep.
you're a wuss. Like, I don't know.
Like,
I mean,
not even a give me the retool word, bro. I hated that. Every time
yeah,
Mosaic would come on, I'd be like, "Yeah, we're retooling." Like, give me a rebuild. I'm sick of this being mid or being dead last. Like give me a full rebuild. Let me get back to where the Cardinals should be. And I think that this is the steps that they're taking that are going to get us back there. So I'm excited for the future.
yeah, for sure. It's like, and like, the Cardinals have such a history of winning. And you spent all that time with, Goldie and Arenado on your roster and you waited to trade, you never traded Goldie. You should have, but you waited and then he left as a free agent. Arenado, you waited so long that he was of no value and you had to pay someone to take him on.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I don't know, like I like this for multiple reasons. I also think we were kind of questioning like with Arenado out, is it Nolan Gorman who gets a chance at third base? Brendan Donovan's at second. I think it's important to trade away. Like not only do you need to trade for those prospects, but it's like JJ Weatherhold is ready, man. At least like he seems like he's ready. So where's he gonna play? Does Gorman still got upside? I know he's kind of running out of time, but he's still got upside. I think you give him his shot. And then is JJ Weatherholt your opening day starter at second base? Like I know we're gonna get into that, next week
Mhm.
with NL or the next few weeks with what each spring roster is going to look like out of spring training. But I don't know. I think it's really important to kind of trade away your guys. You just need new blood, fresh blood in. I'd also like to go over what the Cardinals offseason has looked like so far
Yeah, for sure.
because we've traded away guys like,
Oh,
Wilson
yeah.
Contreras and Sonny Gray both left both left for Boston. You signed Dustin May, who's like, he's not a great pitcher. You get a Rule 5 guy in Matt Pusher. I don't know. There's just a lot of new blood. You got Richard Fitz, who's a young starter with upside. So I really like it. Um,
I mean,
I think it's necessary.
it's the most active offseason I've seen from the Cardinals, I think, in my entire life, which is
Oh yeah.
is kinda saying something whenever they've been as bad as they've been for the past couple of years and they haven't been able to commit. But, I think Chaim Bloom, what he's doing here has been great so far. I think this season is definitely like the test run to see, like, well, what are we gonna, like, do with this, you know? Obviously, we're not gonna be great. I've kind of accepted that. It's really just after this, like, well, what does this mean for 2, 3 years down the road? And I think that we're gonna see these prospects like Ty Pete and, uh, Durangelo, Sinja, and then Colton Ledbetter and all them. We're gonna see them make that impact 2, 3 years from now, and, I'm excited for that, you know? I think the Cardinals, really have something good coming, especially with their, farm system, JJ Weatherholt, like you said, Walker, he's not done, you know? Um, they're I'm gonna give it 4 years till we're back to being good, but I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good segue. I know it's not quite next on our list here, but the White Sox. I want to give the White Sox a little praise for what they've done this
Yeah.
offseason. This week, you sign Austin Hayes to a 1-year deal and you trade for Jordan Hicks. Um, which I really like just kind of for them. Not even like, I mean, on their own, these moves are just like meh. I mean, they're not super impressive, but it's just so important. Like, we haven't seen any life out of this White Sox team and the offseason they've had, signing a veteran like Hayes. And it's not like he's necessarily done.
No.
He's 30. He's had some down years since 2023, but I feel like it's always possible to come back. So
Yeah.
I don't know. And then Jordan Hicks, obviously, we're familiar with him
Yeah.
as St. Louisans, but the word on the street is that he'll settle into a closer role, which he was. He had flashes of being an elite closer. He's a
Yeah.
fireballer. I think the
Mhm.
move to starter for him was always kind of a mistake.
Yeah, I
But
didn't
I don't
see
know.
that.
I really like this for the White Sox.
No, yeah, looking at the Austin Hayes, signing him, like, it almost feels like if you're a White Sox fan, like, this has to be like signing prime Mike Trout because you haven't seen any movement on your team in so long, and now you're getting I mean, it's Austin Hayes, like, you know what you're getting with that. He's a former All-Star. He's gonna be 30. I think he's gonna give him some value, a lot more value than I think people think, like, we're forgetting that he's a good, defender. He's an alright defender. He hasn't been too great these past couple of years, but aside from that, like the guy still can hit. You know, I'm not totally out on this guy yet. I think he still can contribute, but you got to be happy if you're a White Sox fan that your team is actually doing something. Um, I remember in 2020. I mean, we were talking about this like this is the team of the future. Like this is the next murderers row with Robert and Eloy Jimenez, and like that just never panned out. Um, and, like, it's so disappointing whenever that doesn't work out, and then you go be the worst team in baseball history. But I think now they're really starting to get back to where they wanna be, and, of course, it's slow. You're gonna have another couple rebuild years, but, the AL Central is not the most competitive in baseball. It might be the least competitive in baseball. If they can't compete realistically within, like, 3 or 4 years, I mean, there's no way that they shouldn't be able to. I think that they got some good young prospects in Colson Montgomery. Um, yeah, I think they're gonna be fine. I'm kind of excited for this White Sox squad. I just wanna see them spend some more, which they've kinda shown that they're willing to do. But, yeah, good for them. If you're a White Sox fan, you gotta be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the White Sox projected kind of lineup right here in front of me. You know, and I'll just go through it. I think this infield is like really impressive.
Mhm.
Kyle Teal at
Yeah,
catcher, we've kind of seen what he can do. He's a young guy, and for the longest time,
yeah.
he was a top prospect. And by the way, is it Edgar Cuero? Um, who would be behind him?
Mhm.
Yeah, Edgar Cuero behind him, or in the DH spot, you've got Luis Angel Acuna, who most likely would slot in at center field with Andrew Benintendi and Austin Hayes and left and right. And this is like not a bad lineup. I'm looking through this and I'm like, are they you know, is this lineup maybe better than the Cardinals? I mean, I know the Cardinals are entering the depths of hell because they just traded everyone away, but then, Colson Montgomery, who could be like AL MVP, not MVP, rookie of the year,
Yeah.
Miguel Vargas, who's like not bad. I mean, I'm not going to pretend
Uh,
like Miguel Vargas is a world beater, but then, I mean, that's not even to mention Munetaka Murakami, who,
yeah.
the potential for him is through the roof. So I don't know. I really don't mind this White Sox. Their rotation needs quite a bit of work, but Sir Anthony Dominguez and Jordan Hicks in your bullpen, like, I don't know. I kind of dig it as compared to White Sox teams of the past few years. They kind of remind me of the Athletics right now because they're
Mhm.
both like crap teams that have started to spend. And I don't know. I feel like it's a good offseason for baseball.
Yeah.
Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers is like, eh. But I feel
Well,
like if you're rooting for kind of more parity and more balance in the league, this is a great offseason for you because you saw the White Sox and the Athletics go out there and make moves. The Cardinals in 2 years could be a competitive team. I don't know. I really like it.
yeah, like you said, looking at the White Sox lineup, I think one thing that, like, really hinges on their success this season is Murakami. I feel like if he can get going and he can translate to the MLB, I feel like that is, like, the biggest thing with Japanese hitters in particular, is, like, can they adjust to the higher velocities and then all that, I think Murakami has the skill. I mean, he's 26 years old, so it's like I know a lot of teams were looking at him like he was a prospect. So, I see him doing good. I wanna see him translate, of course, Another thing that I kinda look at is Benintendi. That's a name that doesn't get brought up a lot, but he was been reliable, He's a former top prospect. He was an all-star Gold Glover. Like, you can't really like, discount this guy. He wasn't terrible last year. He only played 116 games, but he had 104 OPS, which, 4% better than the average MLB hitter. Like, I don't hate Benintendi on this team. I think that he's a veteran presence in a team that is very young. So, I think that he's kinda gonna be, like, their leader almost. Then, Kyle Teel, like you said, I like a younger guy behind the dish kinda calling the game. I think he's legit. I like him a lot. So I think this White Sox roster really isn't as bad as the last couple years. I don't think they're going to be great. I think that the Guardians and the Royals and Guardians and the Royals are gonna kind of run this division, but I think couple years they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. I think you kind of hit the nail right on the head with Murakami. The scouting report for this guy was always going to be, you know, there's huge potential there. He has potential 80 grade power. Um, but where's his contact? Is his contact going to be a 40 grade or is it going to be a 25? And if it's 25, he's borderline unplayable because it's like you can't have a guy be successful and hit for a
Yeah.
115 average, at least not if his defense isn't top tier.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I feel like that was kind of the deal he was given. Um, so yeah, no, I'm excited for the White Sox. I wouldn't mind going over as well um the Athletics
Hmm.
potential depth chart.
Yeah.
Because I think they've had the other news with the Athletics is that they signed Jacob Wilson to an extension. And this comes after signing, what's his name? That catcher who turned left
Oh,
fielder. I'll have his
Soderstrom.
name in a second. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Taylor Soderstrom. So, you have two of your key players extended. I think that's huge. Yeah, here, I've got their lineup here. Shea Langeliers, who is like very good defensively and hits for he had like an 800 OPS or something, which was great. Nick Kurtz, who was a first baseman, obviously like kind of what he was the AL Rookie of the Year. Jeff McNeil, who you acquire via trade. Jacob Wilson, who would have been Rookie of the Year if it wasn't for Nick Kurtz. Max Muncy, who's a young guy with a lot of
Yeah.
upside, not to be confused with Dodgers Max Muncy. Denzel Clark in the outfield and Lawrence Butler, who are both kind of defensive centerpieces. So I really I think this will be an above average lineup, probably. And then Brent Rooker at DH. I mean, how do you this lineup's really good if you can forget about Brent Rooker, and no one wants to forget about Brent Rooker.
No, we've talked about the A's a lot, I feel like, just in our couple episodes that we've done, but it's like, how can you not? Like, they go from being one of the worst teams in baseball to have one of the most exciting lineups in all of baseball. You just listed off, like, it's just name after name that just hits and hits and hits and hits. Um, Langoliers last year, like, people forget that, 800 OPS, like you said, that guy can rake. Nick Kurtz, 4 home runs in 1 game, one of the best offensive outings. Jacob Wilson, that extension is so huge for them. I'm so glad they locked this guy up for a couple more years. He deserved that money after the season he put up. I really hope that he can continue what he does. I think he should, He seems like he's the type of guy that loves baseball, his dad and all that. But again, the only thing I'm worried about is their pitching. Like I really just don't see them being good throughout the years just because, like, this pitching, this rotation just is not it. You got Severino as your ace, and I'm not saying Luis Severino is just, like, the worst pitcher in baseball, but he certainly is not anywhere near the best or one of the top pitchers. If we're talking 2017 Severino, who was lights out, like, yeah, this could be a pretty gross rotation, but still, I mean, you got Jeffrey Springs, Luis Morales, Jacob Lopez, and Luis Medina. I mean, it's just kinda who? Like, it's nothing too crazy, like, I don't really love that. Um, their bullpen is also just not great, there's not much there. You can't really blame them. Like, they traded Mason Miller, which, one of the best closers in baseball, but the return that they got on that, I think that warranted a trade. You can find relief pitching anywhere, they'll sign somebody, they can trade for someone. They have the capital to trade for guys, so I don't think that this is the year that they're gonna compete. Give them. I mean, I feel like I've said this 20 times this episode. Give them some time, and they're gonna be able to compete. I think that, especially in the AL West, where I could see it kinda softening up. Astros were decent last year. I don't know if they're gonna be able to repeat that success. Same with the Mariners. I know we just talked about it recently. I don't know, like, how much that success is gonna carry on in the future, so I really do see the AL West kinda softening up and giving the A's a chance to, compete and win the division.
Yeah, and looking at this A's team, they do have some talent in their farm system, some pitching talent. I I'm looking at Gage Jump, a left-hander in Double A, and so, you could see him soon. He's only got 2 pitches though, so it's like he's probably gonna be a reliever. He's never really gonna be, let me make sure I'm right. Oh, no, he does have, oh, sorry, he's got 4. I misread it. Yeah, no, and he's got the height too. He's not huge. He's 6 foot, but that's not undersized by any means. He's one of the top left-handing pitching prospects.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always pretty attractive.
Mhm.
Jamie Arnold as well, but he was just drafted out of Florida State. I almost went to go see him play, but he was a top prospect. He's in like rookie ball though, so you don't really expect him to do anything really anytime soon. Obviously, Leo DeVries is like a
Yeah.
top prospect, but in terms of pitching potential, there's not much there.
No.
Braden Net, who could be a starter, is
Yeah.
projected to come up this year. So, I don't know though, you never really can tell.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have to go to the free agent market to fill out this rotation.
Mhm.
They don't really have, what it takes in their farm system.
Yeah.
Um, I also kind of for kind of our last point here, I want to go back to Eugenio Suarez, which kind of relates to the Brendan Donovan trade. Eugenio Suarez signs 1 year, $15 million contract to the Reds. I will say, not to take the attention away from him and the Reds, but this did have to happen for that Brendan Donovan signing to happen because
Oh, for sure.
Brendan Donovan will potentially be playing third base for the Mariners. So I do think Eugenio Suarez had to go sign somewhere else before this Donovan trade happened. And that is what we saw. So, but yeah, I like Eugenio Suarez going back to the Reds. Of course, he was there earlier in his career. Uh, good for him. Good for them. I think maybe he was the missing piece last year. I mean, their rotation was great.
You think
So
you think
yeah,
Suarez
I
was
like
the
it as a landing spot for him.
you think Suarez might have been the missing piece? You think, like, let's say we took, like, last year's Suarez from 2024, or 2025. When we put him on the wild card Reds, do you think that their outcome is going to change against the Dodgers? I
I
personally,
don't know if it changes against the Dodgers,
yeah,
but I don't know. Yeah, so I guess that's not a great way to put it, but I like their lineup a
yeah.
lot better.
No, I think he fits in really well with them. I like the signing for both of them. You know, we always say there's no such thing as a bad 1 year contract, and
Mhm.
this is a great 1 year contract, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, no, I do really like it for sure. I mean, I don't know, you look at that lineup last year. You had Cabrian Hayes at third base, and obviously he is like horrible offensively and very good defensively, which is obviously where the value lies. But I believe they traded for him, if I'm not mistaken, mid-season. Yeah, so they traded for him from the
Yeah.
Pirates
Mhm.
mid-season. But obviously I think he factors in Eugenio Suarez factors in as a DH here, and you had Gavin Lux filling that role
Yeah.
who it's like he wasn't horrible. Obviously, he's a Tampa Bay Ray now, but
Mhm.
I like it. I think this definitely improves their team, and I think they're definitely in a better spot than they were last year.
Yeah, they got a real four-hole hitter with Suarez. I mean, he had almost 50 home runs last year. Guy was absolutely raking for the first half. He kind of cooled off second half, but I like it for the Reds a lot. They got a signing, which I think they really needed to at least show to the fans that they're like still wanting to compete. They had a wild card last year. Why would you not keep adding to try to go further? I mean, of course, like we just talked about, they ran into the Dodgers, but I just can't stop looking at their rotation. Like this rotation is so good. I don't think really like many people know about that. Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott, Brady Singer, Nick Lodolo, and Chase Burns. As long as Chase Burns is like plays to his potential, like this could be the best rotation in baseball. They're all young too, which is even crazier to me. The oldest is Brady Singer, who's 29 and a half. So like he's 30. He's going to be reaching like probably hopefully the prime of his career. I think that this rotation could carry them to being one of the best teams in the NL Central, but I just don't see them getting over the Cubs or the Brewers, unfortunately, no matter how good their rotation is. You know, I could be wrong. Maybe Ellie De La Cruz is going to play out of his mind and Suarez is going to hit 55 nukes and all these guys are going to pop off. But I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs on the roster. Like Noel V. Marte, like what's he going to do? How's he going to be? But JJ
Mhm.
Bleday, that's a name that maybe 5 years ago could have been like, oh, the Reds got JJ Bleday. But now it's like he's 28. What's he really have to like? He still needs to prove himself. And at this age, will he prove himself? I hope so. But I don't know. Reds are a very interesting team. I don't know if they have the real depth to repeat what they did last year.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't know if I necessarily see them being an world beater, but I definitely like the signing. I also want to talk about what the Mariners look like after acquiring Brendan Donovan, because I think I did kind of skip over that. But just to go through this lineup for a bit, we already know they have one of the best rotations in baseball,
Yeah,
probably up there with the Reds. But this lineup, Cal Raleigh, Andrew Kisner, who played second fiddle to Yadier Molina for quite a few years here in St. Louis. Josh Naylor, who just signed a big extension at first base. Cole Young, who's a young guy with a lot of potential. JP Crawford at shortstop, who like is great defensively, put up 2.5 WAR last year. Brendan Donovan sliding in at third. And with Colt Emerson, also a prospect with pretty big potential, slotting in behind him. You have Randy Rosarina in left, Julio Rodriguez in center, and then Victor Robles, Dominic Canzoni, or Luke Rayleigh kind of right field by chorus there. And then same thing with DH, but I also think that you can make like a midseason deal to do that. I think there's no doubt that they will be in playoff contention.
yeah,
And then obviously look at this rotation. Like Brian Wu, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller. I mean, that's just like that's amazing. They none of them put together less than a 2 WAR last year, and none of them put together lower or higher than a 3.8 ERA.
yeah,
It's just a great I mean, they are a great team. They might be like Like, I think it'll be hard beating the Blue Jays and the Yankees,
Mm,
and even maybe the Red Sox, but I think if we were to draw a line, I think they're the best team in the American League on the west side of the Mississippi River, for sure. Definitely in
yeah,
their division.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's just no real holes in their lineup, I'd say, really, except for maybe DH. They got on Fangraphs, at least they have Dominic Canzone listed there right now. I don't know. I feel like you could do better DH wise. I'd like to see maybe somebody better. But I mean, again, that rotation like that is just it's like insane to look at. Like I think I'm like confident enough to say that like that's the best rotation in baseball. I don't really know like I can't think of a team like off the top of my head that's better than that. All these guys are so good and they're moving into the prime of their careers, I hope. Luis Castillo, that's kind of like the wildest one to me because I thought he was kind of getting old maybe on his way out, but he just keeps being that guy. And it's weird to look at him as the third option in that rotation because Brian Will and Logan Gilbert are just that good. And then how is George Kirby a fourth, like the fourth option? He could be a one on any other team, but he's on the Mariners, so he's not. But no, it's a very exciting team. And then that bullpen too, Andres Munoz, All Star Andres Munoz. Um, he was lights out last year. He had a 2.86 ERA and a 1.3 WAR. Like as a reliever, as a closing pitcher, like that, he's been super solid. So I really think that the Mariners are going to repeat what they did last year. I think they're going to go far, maybe even farther. I could see them really being World Series contenders.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the Mariners' whole team, their lineup, their rotation, their bullpen kind of looks like when I started playing out of the park baseball and I turned like budget sliders all the way up. So I just had unlimited money and then I
Uh,
traded away all my prospects and I have just no
yeah,
farm system.
little
That
super team.
that's what they look like to me, honestly.
Yeah, aside from maybe a couple things, I think that they're legit, and their farm system, from what I remember, I'm pretty sure that they're pretty good. Like I know that they got some guys coming up that I think are gonna make an impact. So, good for them.
Yeah, I'm checking right now. Of course, the top 100 prospects rankings just came out. We could go over that a little bit
Oh yeah,
in coming episodes as well. But let me just see what their farm
yeah,
system ranks. Yeah, they've got the 7th ranked farm system, and this is what your major league roster looks like. Yeah, top ranked prospect Cole Emerson, who's great. Obviously, Cole Young was amazing, or was a top prospect last year. So they've got like upside in this infield, even, and you don't even really think about it. Like those guys aren't starting; they're not projected
yeah,
to start. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, but it's like, is JP Crawford here to stay? He's what, like 28?
yeah,
They may be in one of the best places in baseball, dare I say. I mean, I don't know, like the Dodgers are probably in a better place, maybe the Yankees, but I don't know, like outside of the perennial money spenders,
yeah,
the teams that everyone says are ruining baseball, like they might be in one of the best shapes in the whole league.
yeah. No, they got their guys. I need to check like how they have their guys locked up to see when like their contracts expire, especially Cal Raleigh. It's kind of crazy that we've mentioned this. Like we've talked about the Mariners so long, we haven't talked about Cal Raleigh, who's just a superhuman athlete. But
Mhm.
he signed through 2030. He's got 6 years, so he's still got another 4 years on that contract. They got him for a while. I think that their window to win is now, and I think as long as Raleigh is on the team, their window is open.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for like, does anyone really repeat that, level of power? He's 29, so
Mhm,
it's not like he's super old or anything. We've seen him like he's been consistently a 30, like a 25 to 35
mhm.
home run guy, which is great. Um, I personally don't see him repeating the 60 home run season.
That's just
If he does, more power to him.
mhm,
But I feel like you never really see guys, you've got your Pujols and your Aaron Judges and your Shoheis and whatnot, but, like, I feel like Cal Raleigh isn't one of those guys. He's great, like, this is not disrespecting him at all, but I don't see another 60 home run season out of him. That's not to say that he's still not a centerpiece in their team for the next 4 years, though.
I could see him putting up 45 home runs, even
Yeah.
50 home runs, but, like, if we're looking at Barry Bonds, I'm not trying to compare him to Barry Bonds in any way at all because that is just kinda unreal, but Bonds had 73 home runs in his record-breaking season, and then he didn't hit over 50 home runs, over 49 home runs in any of his other seasons. So it's like I kinda think we're gonna see that where he's gonna have one superhuman year, and then the rest are gonna be, like, still really good, but not to like where he was the first switch hitting catcher to hit 60 home runs. I really think that
Mhm.
he's gonna be around the 45 home run range, but like you said, if he does, more power to him, just my words, and I won't ever admit that he's better than Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge deserved that MVP, but, you
Mhm.
know, I think he's a good second place.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure, and it's like any other year, he's probably your MVP, but Aaron
Yeah,
Judge is just great. And, you mentioned Barry Bonds. You wanna just get into it? You wanna just talk some Barry Bonds for the last, like,
let's talk
5
Barry
minutes of
Bonds.
this? I
Yeah,
mean, I've got his baseball reference pulled up. I'm
I got
assuming
it
you've
up
got something of
too.
his pulled up.
Yeah,
I mean, to
this is
start off with,
insane.
7 MVPs.
Yeah, nuts. That will never
I
be
mean,
done again, I don't think. I just don't see that
yeah,
ever being done.
it's like this is just and, this is all with the notice that, yes, we acknowledge that he did PEDs. With that being said, everyone did. And
Yeah.
I don't know when exactly he started, but the reports are all basically like, oh, yeah, he started in like basically the 90s and he had already won like 3 MVPs at that point,
Yeah. No, I
you
mean,
know?
like, he's still a superhuman athlete. I mean, the whole steroid era, you got, like, a mutant going against a mutant. Like, you cannot tell me that, I don't know. You got starting pitchers who are juicing, who are massive, like Clemens, dude, and you got Barry Bonds out here hitting 73 home runs, but, it still takes hand-eye coordination and skill to hit a baseball. It's not like if I start juicing right now, I'm gonna go hit one in McCovey Cove, like, I still need to, like, be a good athlete. The year after he hit 73 home runs, in 2002, he bat .370 through 143 games and put up an 11.7 WAR. So you have one of the best seasons in baseball history, followed up by one of the best seasons in baseball history, which was like a run of 4 straight seasons that you really could make a case for being the best seasons in baseball history. So, um, this dude is just, like, unreal. They need to put him in the Baseball Hall of Fame, like, super soon. Like, I don't think that the hall will ever be complete without Bonds, Clemens, any of the steroid era guys. So, one day
Yeah.
he's gonna get in, but I just don't think it's coming anytime soon.
Yeah. And I like that you say steroid era. And I like that that is like a popularly used phrase now because it was a steroid era. And I'm not, everyone judges it by our modern, you know, like our modern beliefs. It's like everyone kind of knew and just no one really gave a shit.
Yeah,
And so I just looked it up. He started after the 1998 season
yeah,
because he was
uh-huh,
jealous of Mark McGuire's home run record.
yeah,
So if you go from 1986 to 1998, that he was 33 when he started doing PEDs. He had already put up, let's see, a 9.7, 8, 9, 9.9, 6.2, 7.5, 9.7, 8.2 WAR season, as well as 8, 6, 6, and 3 MVPs. It's like I think he has 2 different Hall of Fame resumes. He's
yeah,
got one, with PEDs and one without. And I also want to give him a little bit of love. This is probably as a result of the PEDs. But it's like no one when they're 42 years old is bashing 28 home runs, putting up a 3.4 WAR. Um, and not like he stole bases. He stopped
yeah.
stealing bases once he, started
No, he
pushing
was
his
still collecting
pushing
bags.
40, but he didn't just hit dingers,
Yeah,
like he
he was
stole
a
bases and he
prideful
played pretty
player.
good
He was
defense, did he
yeah,
not?
he has a ton of gold gloves, like, the guy was a monster in the field. Here's
Mhm.
something kinda interesting. From 1986 to 1997, he put up a 91.8 WAR. So before he even had steroids, he had 91.8 career WAR. He added quite a bit after that, but he had a 162 OPS plus through then. He had 374 home runs. Um I mean, he had all the counting stats to get him into the Hall of Fame except for maybe hits. I mean, it's kinda benchmark is around 2,000, and he had 1,750, but, like, this is a Hall of Fame career before he even touched steroids, allegedly, like, touched steroids. We don't know
Mhm.
exactly when, but, the consensus is in 1998. Um, no, I think it's time he goes in the Hall of Fame, you know? You got the most home runs in baseball history, and you're not gonna sniff Cooperstown for a couple more years at least. I think that's kinda sad on the voters' parts.
Yeah, I almost feel like they're trying to erase, like, a part of baseball history, and, that may be a little unfair to them because at some point it's like, "Alright, man," like, you did do PEDs, but I don't know, I feel like to not induct all those guys that clearly they were just in an era, they were in an era, man.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's almost as if they're trying to say, like it's like Coke trying to say, "Oh, no, we didn't have cocaine in our soda." It's like, "No, we all know
Uh-huh.
you did." Like,
Yeah.
no one thinks you still do now. Obviously, there are
Yeah.
people who do PEDs now, but, they drug test for it.
Um,
So, I don't know. No, but I like that. I figure we wrap it up here.
yeah.
Anything else you got, Chuck?
No, if you like the Barry Bonds talk, go check out Roger Clemens because I feel like his baseball reference is also very cool to look at with how many Cy Youngs that dude has. But I feel like we got, a good amount of content in this one. I like this, I like that ending. Talk about Bonds, a guy who, needs to be talked about.
Yeah, well, thank you everyone so much for tuning in. If you like, what you see, go check out past episodes. We're super grateful that everyone's coming and watching. Go check out the other podcasts. Go to the Sandman Sports app. It's all free. Go to the film room, watch Eric's podcast and the Sandman and the other guys. And go and read some articles. Interact with the website. Subscribe on all the socials. I know at least we're on Facebook and Instagram, maybe X. Who knows? But thank you everyone so much for tuning in, and we will come at you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for tuning in.